Austin Dillon's recent penalty by NASCAR has been a significant topic in the motorsports community. The decision from the National Motorsports Appeals Panel regarding his controversial win at Richmond Raceway has sparked widespread discussion. Dillon won the race in a manner that many found contentious. He knocked the 22 car out of the way and then made contact with the 11 car, which allowed him to cross the finish line first. But 3 days after the race, NASCAR made the decision that his win would not count towards playoff eligibility. The controversy surrounding this decision has left fans and experts alike debating the fairness of NASCAR's ruling. After the race, NASCAR penalized Austin Dillon by docking 25 driver owner points and suspending his spotter, Brandon Benish, for 3 races. Richard Childress Racing, the team that Dillon drives for, decided to appeal the penalty. This appeal was heard by the National Motorsports Appeals Panel. The panel upheld most of NASCAR's penalties, but reduced Benish's suspension from 3 races to 1. However, the panel's decision meant that Dillon's win at Richmond still does not count towards playoff eligibility. This outcome leaves Dillon in 29th place in the NASCAR point standings, which is a tough position for him and his team as they try to make the playoffs. The appeals panel released a statement explaining their decision. In the statement, they emphasized the importance of maintaining exemplary conduct in NASCAR to ensure that the series championships remain valid. They believe that the line was crossed in this situation, and as a result, most of the penalties were upheld. The concept of the line has been a point of debate in recent weeks, with many people trying to define what it means in the context of NASCAR racing. But there seems to be no clear consensus on where that line should be drawn, as it often appears to be subjective. Many within the NASCAR community agree with the panel's decision. There's not been a recent instance where a driver so blatantly wrecked 2 cars to secure a win and a playoff spot. If NASCAR wants to maintain the integrity of the sport, it must make difficult decisions like this one. The current era of NASCAR is different from the past. The cars are more durable than ever before, and the stakes are higher than they've ever been. The way NASCAR handles racing incidents today cannot be the same as it was in previous decades. In the 20th century, NASCAR frequently issued penalties for rough driving, but many of those penalties were driven by safety concerns. But now, the cars are extremely safe, which removes safety as a deterrent for aggressive driving. The appeal process in NASCAR is also worth noting. When a team decides to appeal a penalty, NASCAR must present evidence to prove that a violation occurred. This means that NASCAR must be confident in the penalties it imposes. In this case, the appeals panel found that NASCAR had sufficient evidence to uphold most of the penalties against Dillon and his team. While the panel did reduce the suspension for Brandon Benish, they still felt that the majority of the penalties were justified. The outcome of this appeal has significant implications for Austin Dillon and Richard Childress Racing. Without the win at Richmond counting towards playoff eligibility, Dillon faces an uphill battle to secure a spot in the playoffs. The decision also sends a message to other drivers that aggressive tactics that cross the line will not be tolerated. As NASCAR continues to evolve, decisions like this one will play a crucial role in shaping the future of the sport. When a team is penalized by NASCAR, they have the right to appeal the decision. This appeal is first heard by the National Motorsports Appeals Panel. The panel's job is to decide whether the team most likely broke the rules or not. The rulebook clearly states that if the panel finds a violation occurred, they cannot completely rescind any part of the penalty, but they can change the penalty by increasing or decreasing the number of points deducted or adjusting the fine. This rule is a new addition to the rulebook, which has made the appeals process stricter for teams. One of the key reasons this change matters is because of what happened last season with Hendrick Motorsports during the Louvergate incident. After this event, NASCAR made changes to the rulebook to prevent teams from avoiding penalties in the future. Richard Childress Racing, the team involved in this recent appeal, was likely hurt by this change in the rulebook. The team had hoped that the appeals panel would remove the penalties against Austin Dillon, but this rule made that impossible. The panel did reduce the suspension for Dillon's spotter, but the main penalty, which affected Dillon's playoff eligibility, was upheld. Even though Richard Childress Racing lost the appeal, they still have one more option. they can take their case to the final appeals officer, who is currently Bill Mullis, the owner of Langley Speedway. If the team decides to go forward, they must now provide evidence that supports their claim that the penalty was unjust. But it is important to note that this process is challenging and the chances of success are typically low. Richard Childress Racing expressed disappointment in the outcome of the hearing with the National Motorsports Appeals Panel. They respect the process, but they believe the decision did not reflect the facts they presented. The team announced plans to appeal the decision to the final appeals officer, which means the situation is not yet resolved. The last time a team appealed to Bill Mullis was last season when Colleague Racing challenged a 100-point penalty for Justin Haley. In that case, Mullis sided with the team and rescinded the points penalty, but this was a unique situation where NASCAR requested Mullis to make that decision. Given these factors, it's hard to predict how Bill Mullis will rule in the Richard Childress Racing case. Many people online are critical of the team for continuing the appeal process, but it's understandable why they're doing so. Appealing at each level costs money, but if the team wins and their playoff eligibility is restored, the financial gain could be huge. Making the playoffs in NASCAR is a big deal, both in terms of money and publicity. Teams that make the playoffs receive more attention from sponsors and media, which can be very valuable. Even though Austin Dillon is not expected to win the championship, just making the playoffs would be a significant achievement for his team. That is why Richard Childress Racing is fighting so hard to overturn the penalty. In NASCAR, the process of making and enforcing rules is crucial for maintaining the sport's integrity and fairness. Recently, discussions have arisen about the role of the sanctioning body, NASCAR, in officiating and decision-making. It's important to understand why some people think NASCAR needs more authority to make immediate decisions and why this matters for the sport. NASCAR's officiating process is often complex. When a race incident occurs, there's a procedure for reviewing and deciding penalties. Sometimes, decisions take a long time to be made. For example, it can take days or even weeks before a final ruling or appeal decision is announced. This delay can lead to frustration among teams, drivers, and fans. Austin Dillon recently spoke on the topic. He expressed that NASCAR should have the authority to make decisions on the spot without waiting for external input. This sentiment is echoed by Denny Hamlin, another prominent driver. Both believe that NASCAR should be able to make officiating decisions independently of external pressures from manufacturers like Ford, Chevy, and Toyota, or from networks and sponsors. The current system involves multiple stakeholders. When a significant penalty or controversy arises, various parties can lobby NASCAR to influence the decision. This could lead to a perception that the decision-making process is not fully impartial. Dillon and Hamlin argue that this involvement can undermine the sport's integrity. So, what are your thoughts on this? Comment down below right now, and while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.